I'm trying to reach Christopher Mayall.
This is him.
Hi, Christopher. This is Mr. Kamau with PoliceBoost.com, and I just reviewed your complaint that you filed.
Well, that was fast. That was way faster than the police department. I mean,
we take every complaint. We take every complaint very seriously. So I read your complaint, and I have a couple of comments, and then I wanted to ask you about the video of the incident. Okay?
Okay.
Tell me what you were doing, where you were going, what happened just prior to the officer contacting you, and then walk me from that point forward.
I didn't notice that it was a police officer until I was probably a half a block from my house. I just thought it was a car riding me too close. I pulled into my driveway. Once my son started exiting the vehicle, he flipped on his lights and approached my vehicle.
Okay. And tell me what
At that point, my son was still, I think he was exiting the vehicle, but he had the groceries in his hands. And I was trying to roll down my window. The radio was still up. He was talking while I was trying to turn down the radio. Well, he wasn't talking, but he was yelling. He was talking while I was rolling down the window and trying to turn down my radio. I wear hearing aids. I didn't have them in. I couldn't hear the guy. But after I turned down the radio and said, I didn't hear you. Or I said, what did you say? I didn't hear you. He said, don't be a fucking dumbass. My son looked at me. I told him to go on in the house and shut the door and don't come out. And that's when we proceeded to argue back and forth. I told him I didn't like the way he talked to me. I don't like being approached that way. He has no right to talk to me that way in front of my son or anybody else. And he shouldn't talk to me or anybody else that way. And he was demanding this and demanding that. And I said, just go back to your car and write your ticket out and leave, or call back up because I'm not dealing with you anymore. I rolled up my window and sat in my truck.
So let me ask you this. What was the officer's name who approached your vehicle?
It's on the video, and I can't understand who he is. I can't understand his name.
Okay. So what time of day was it, and when did this happen? Was it in the last couple of days?
Yeah, yesterday.
Okay.
And
right. I just pulled your complaint form up. So at some point, what time of the day was it, and what was the alleged violation he was accusing you of?
I think it was around 6 o'clock. But he never did tell me what I was being accused of until, because we immediately started arguing.
So let me back up. You're traveling somewhere with your son to get groceries. You're on your way home. You get in your driveway.
Right.
Before you got to the driveway, you noticed the vehicle following you too closely.
Right.
And ultimately, It turned out to be a Fulton County Sheriff deputy, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that deputy approached your vehicle, and you wear hearing aids, so you had difficulty hearing him. And when you told him that you couldn't hear him, he then yelled at you, "Don't be a dumbass."
Don't be a fucking dumbass.
And those are the first few words out of his mouth.
That's the first few words that I heard. He said something as I was rolling down the window, but I couldn't hear him because of the radio and my hearing.
Okay. And had you done anything to offend him? Had you made any effort to disobey an order or do anything other than what you should have been doing?
No, not until after he started screaming at me.
Okay.
Not until after he called me a fucking dumbass. And after that, it escalated.
Okay. And with regard to it escalating, it didn't escalate beyond you simply stating that you didn't want to talk to him and maybe having some counter words with him, correct?
Right, exactly.
Okay, so you told your son to go inside once you heard the officer's unprofessional comments?
Yes.
Okay, and you mentioned to me the thing that offended you, one of the things that offended you is that he did this in front of your son. Did that offend you?
Yes, it did offend me greatly.
Okay, how old is your son?
10.
He's 10 years old?
Yes.
And did the officer clearly see him in the vehicle with you?
Yes.
Okay. I interrupted you. Go ahead and continue with your complaint.
Then another officer arrived, which was Officer Ford. That's when I started filming. After that point, it was probably a 20-minute argument between he and I and his officer, and how they were talking to me. I told them I did, it was just a big argument. And they tried to make it out over a stop sign, and it was never about a stop sign. or a traffic violation. It was about him walking up to my truck and calling me a fucking dumbass in front of my 10-year-old. You know, that was the main issue. But I did comply, and I told him I'd sign whatever ticket you want. I'll do whatever you guys ask. Sign, you know, write your ticket out and leave. Do what you got to do. I don't have any problem with that, but you're not going to talk to me that way.
Okay,
and,
did anything else happen that you felt was unprofessional or involved misconduct?
Yeah, the other officer that came to discuss it with me was just sitting there laughing like it was a big joke. You know. He was laughing at you or laughing at the situation? Yeah, laughing at me and the situation, laughing at me. Thought it was a joke. Thought it was funny. I also have a video of today when I went to the police station and tried to file a complaint. 5 officers bum rushed me in the back of a police station and were threatening to arrest me for trespassing if I didn't leave their department.
Let me stop you for a second.
I'm not kidding.
Well, hold on. I think the sheriff is going to want to see this. Well, first of all, you obviously know you're in the right place because you must have seen some of the videos on our website. Right. And the one on the front is exactly what happened to me. And with the undercover reporter, but only they were threatening to arrest me for trespassing because I wanted to file a complaint. Suddenly this complaint didn't exist or they didn't know who to talk to. Their officers are the one that sent me down there in the first place to file a complaint.